What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 57 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. All three of us are together. Happy holidays. We wish you all a Merry Christmas. I'm here. My name is Dave, and I'm here with Christian. Christian, say hello.
Hey.
Matt.
Hello.
Yeah, Matt's just enthralled with it. We got my dad over behind the camera just hanging out, watching us, as well as our Golden Doodle keepers down here with us as well. Soccer themed. We're big on that in the Knittel household. I have this in my ear because I was hoping to just test our sound here, but it's not coming through yet.
Looks like it's fine.
Nice. Yeah, but I just wanted to make sure that the sound is all right. But
it looks fine.
Rather than recording everything and having it not work out, I just wanted to make sure. But
then we get to do it again. It'd be so much fun.
Looking like we're just gonna roll with this. All right. Well, let's just go with it, I guess.
Hop right in.
You're not hearing anything?
Huh? I'm trying to reload. Let's try it one more time. And no. Okay. All right. Whatever. So we're just gonna jump right into
volume
things.
up on your phone?
It has nothing to do with volume because we would see our faces. All right. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right into things. Thank you all for joining us, for watching, and we hope you had a Merry Christmas and have a wonderful New Year. Christian's ready to go. All right. You guys ready? Questions. Christian has our trivia question. Let me do that.
It's only 350.
We are ready to go. Let me take a swig real quick. Yeah.
It's 350. Dave's wasted. And he just spilled on himself. I hope everyone just witnessed that happen.
All right. We ready? Huh?
It got caught on camera.
No, I don't think so.
I'm very excited about
All right. Ready?
No.
Yeah. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 57 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. As always, my name is Dave Knittel, and I'm here with my brothers Christian and Matt live in person this week to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Dave. Liverpool made a huge signing today that's going to change the season, in my opinion. He is a really, really, really great center back. Virgil van Dijk from Southampton. Just another Southampton acquisition.
Accusation.
Same thing.
There
you go. At Liverpool, and it's going to be really, really big for their defensive structure for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, even though he was $100 million, which is absurd, but that's just the way the market is these days. I think he's a very talented player and really critical for them to sign. So excited about him. Matt, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, Man City won 18 in a row victories in the Premier League, so can't complain.
That's good, guys. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. As always, I just really appreciate that. Happy to be home. Happy to be with you guys. I miss you guys being all the way out on the West Coast, and I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be with Mom and Dad. We had a lovely dinner, and we are ready to record.
So you're not going to talk about the dogs then, or
the dogs are fantastic. Everybody knows I love the dogs. It's implied. You don't have to mention the dogs. Christian, do you have our trivia question?
I do have a trivia question for you this week. It's in relation to Liverpool because what else would I have a question about?
Yeah, very true.
So, do you guys know how many goals Felipe Coutinho has scored from outside the box in his career?
In his career at Liverpool?
Yes.
Okay, I think I may know the answer. Matt, do you happen to know?
I think I'll think of an answer.
He's now number 2 in Liverpool history. I bet you guys know who number 1 is.
Stevie G.
John Arne Reese.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so we listeners, we will think on that. You will think on that. And Christian will reveal the answer at the end of the podcast. So make sure to stick with us throughout. Before we get into our topics, let me quick tell you about Fan Futsal. So I'm the founder of Fan Futsal, which is a simplified fantasy soccer website. We have you select 5 teams instead of 8 to 11 individual players, and our only fantasy scoring elements are goals scored, goals conceded, and the result of the match, so you only need to follow match scores. We're really simplifying things, but still maintain some of the strategic elements that make fantasy soccer awesome. If you're a soccer fan, and if you're listening to this, I have a feeling you might be, you want to check us out at fanfutsal.com. With that, let's get into our topics here. All right, guys? First topic I wanted to talk about, there was a tweet recently about Jurgen Klopp, and since he took over at Liverpool, Liverpool have lost 43 points in the league from winning positions, which is the most of any team in Europe. Shout out to Bet365, we'll tweet it out for them providing that. But Christian, what's your take on Klopp as a manager? Is this his fault? Is he overblown and overhyped as a manager?
I think there's too much pressure put on managers these days in age anyway, but I think that Jurgen Klopp is an excellent man manager, but tactically he does have his flaws. Defensively specifically, and seeing out wins has been an issue for Liverpool since he took over. It's been an issue for Liverpool since Rafa left, in my opinion. I think even when Rafa was there, they had issues with it. But it's been a long time coming that you just don't see these stats really that often, and when they come to you, it is surprising. But at the same time, especially as a Liverpool fan, you just know when we have leads, we have 1-goal lead, we're not confident. When we have 2-goal lead, we're not confident. And as Sevilla taught us, when we have a 3-goal lead this year, at halftime, we aren't confident. So it's not all on Klopp, though. The players aren't living up to what they need to do at the back, and our goalkeeping is a disaster. We have 2 keepers who aren't very solid. I still think that our Premier League goalkeeper, Simon Mignolet, is the wrong choice. I think Karius has a better future and is a younger player. And as similar as they are right now, I think he is a better choice. And in the Champions League, he's proven that. But I think that Klopp should not take all the blame, but has to take some of it because his tactics haven't really panned out when they're leading.
What about from a recruitment standpoint? So, like you said, I mean, he's recruited Karius. I mean, they've had, outside of Van Dijk, who's a fantastic signing, I mean, they haven't really recruited well at defense. They've recruited very well attacking-wise. Do you fault him in any way for the recruitment aspect?
I do and I don't. I think Joel Matip is going to come good. He's had a lot of issues with, well, not suspensions, but when he had his issue with Cameroon and he wasn't allowed to play last January. And then he has had a bunch of injuries this season that have kept him out of the side. It's tough to get your defense cohesive when you're having different center back pairings all the time.
Okay.
And it's been tough. And I think Van Dijk and Matip could really be solid. They're both good with the ball at their feet, and they're both very large and quick.
Yeah, I'm excited about that pairing. Matt, what's your take on Jurgen Klopp? Do you think he's overrated as a manager?
I think he's a passion merchant. He gets the fans going.
Yeah.
I think that's why everyone loves him. He gets the fans going, he gets the players going. They all like him. But it's the same. Like, I feel like Liverpool's been in the same position for years before he was there and years now. I mean, he got him back to the Champions League. I mean, that's a big step. But even the players he's brought in, like, how is a center back the only player you're going to spend $100 million on? I feel like, I mean, Salah's a great player, but I think in the midfield, there's still a lot of holes in the midfield. Outside backs, I mean, Klein, he's been hurt, but they still have outside back issues, goalkeeper issues. It's just like strange to me that he's spending $100 million on a center back.
Yeah, but I mean, he brought in Mane, he brought in Naby Keita, who's going to address the defensive midfielder. He brought in Mane, he brought in Salah. You know, Solanke, I thought, is a really underrated signing. I mean, he's an up-and-coming player. What is he, 19, 20 years old? And they brought him in for like £5 million or something like that. So again, I don't really fault them from an attacking recruitment standpoint. Fault him for an attacking recruitment standpoint, but I do fault him for outside back, for goalkeeper, and for center back. So I think there is something to be said out of that. And you know, yeah, he is a passion merchant or whatever the heck you want to call it, but there's an element of, I mean, players actually do respond to the crowd, you know, and their energy and things like that. And so I think that there's a value in him being that, you know?
He's given life to the Liverpool fans. The fan base has really risen up, and Anfield has always been a tough place to go.
It's risen.
But it has risen indeed.
Yeah.
I think that having Klein out all year has been a massive hole at the right back. I know attacking-wise he isn't the best, but he is really solid as a defensive option at right back, and he's just a really good player to have back there. He's
and I like Robertson too. I like
Robertson is a good player, and also Moreno's been out the last couple of weeks. I know he has his issues, and he has games where you just want to bang your head through the wall.
Yeah.
But he also has been solid this whole year. And I was reading a bunch of articles before that Sevilla game about how well he's been playing and how they don't need to buy a left back. And then that happens. So it just reminds us that we do still need a solid left back that can be consistent over the entire season.
Yeah. So I think that I still am willing to give Klopp, you know, the rest of this year and into next year, especially when Keita gets in there, Van Dijk, and I think he is a good manager, and it's just been sort of situational stuff. So anything else to add before we keep moving?
Well, I'm willing to give him much longer than just the year.
Okay. No. Before you start questioning him, though, because, I mean, if he's got all these talented players and they're in this position again where they keep losing from winning positions.
And he's also got Coutinho continuing to go, even though he knows he's going to be leaving at the end of the year. And I'm hoping he stays through January. But with that money being spent, I'm also concerned that means Coutinho is going to leave right now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll be following all that. Matt, anything else to add about Klopp?
I don't get how the bar has just become try to get into the Champions League, and like that's what they want. And for a club as big as Liverpool in the history they have, they should be trying to win the league.
Well, when you're competing with United City and Chelsea's spending limits, it's really difficult to compete at this level.
Liverpool have money too. They just spent $100 million on a center back.
Yeah, but it's different money, and you know that. Like
Yeah.
Liverpool's
And that's gonna be
ownership.
the only signing they make.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, just the reality of the situation where they are is need to be getting into the Champions League each year, and then having a good year, they can contend for a league title. I think that's where they're not going to be perennial title contenders, but they're a club that needs to be pushing for the Champions League, and if they have things fall their way like they did in 13-14, they can push for a title, right? It was 13-14?
Yep.
All right, let's keep this thing moving along. Let's go over to Manchester now and talk about comments recently from Grand Sunis. Christian, how did you want to pronounce it? Saunis, however you want to pronounce it. He came out and said David De Gea was his best Premier League player of 2017, ahead of Harry Kane, Kevin De Bruyne, all those players. Matt, what's your take on Sunis? What the hell? Saunis's take of De Gea as the best player in 2017 in the Premier League?
I think he's been incredible as a goalie, but I think it's like weird seeing these lists. I mean, it's just opinions. There's like goalkeeper lists where like it's like all retired goalies and they don't have De Gea in like the top 10 in the world. And there's like lists where like you have just like it's all just opinionated. And I think De Gea has been. I know, but I'm saying for not. But like I don't think you can say, especially for like a goalkeeper position, and some games you don't have to do anything and your team still wins. So I don't think you can say he was the best player because he's not like very influential in some games. But I think like when he is called upon, he's incredible. I do think he is the best goalie in Premier League, but I don't think he's the best player in terms of the effect they have on the team. Whereas like what De Bruyne does, Harry Kane even, I'm not the biggest Harry Kane guy, but he scores all of Tottenham's goals.
But I mean, so De Gea has the second most saves in the Premier League so far this season, and United's in second. I think first is Fabianski and Ederson, who's has the least amount. And that's not an indictment on Ederson, but De Gea is incredibly influential because he's getting points for them. I mean, I'm with you. I don't think he's been the best player. For me, it's been Harry Kane. But I think there is a legit argument that he could be in the discussion. Christian, you're smiling. What are your thoughts?
I don't think Harry Kane has been the best player in the Premier League. I don't know what he has to do to convince me, but he clearly has to do something else. I just am not sold on him.
He's 56 goals this calendar year.
Okay.
More than Messi, more than Ronaldo. He's the most in Europe.
Okay. He didn't score 91 goals in a year like Messi did.
No, he did not.
But I just don't – it's not sold on him as an all-around player. I think he's excellent at his role, and that's all he has to do. But he just doesn't have all-around capabilities, and I can't consider him the best player in the league because of that.
All right, so that's fine. This isn't a Harry Kane discussion. Let's get to that next. What is your take on De Gea? Then we can get to that.
Okay, De Gea. Honestly, I think goalkeepers are so underrated. They win their team so many points, and I know strikers also do that. Goal scorers, that's what they're paid to do. But goalkeepers are paid to keep the ball out of the net, and they earn their team so many points, and they're undervalued a lot of the time. And De Gea is really brilliant. Is he the best player in the league? It's tough to say a goalkeeper is the best player ever in any type of league or in the world. But he's up there in the discussion. No, I wouldn't say he is, but he has to be discussed.
So then who is your best Premier League player of 2017? If it's not Kane, which I don't know how it's not.
It has to be De Bruyne.
Even so, I can't even remember. Matt, you may be better equipped to answer this, but I can't remember De Bruyne's end of last season. I agree, De Bruyne has been the best player so far this season. How good was he last year? I don't remember him being this good.
He was good.
He was good.
He was.
But was he this good?
Yes.
He was this good last year, end of last season?
I mean, right now, you can make arguments. I don't know if he was this good, but right now he's playing like comparable to any player in the world.
I agree with that. So I think you can make an argument there, but at the end of the day, the game is about scoring goals, and Harry Kane had 56 in 2017, more than any other player in the world, or in Europe, I should say, and at least Europe's top leagues. I don't know how. It's Harry Kane for me. But De Gea has been incredible, and like I was saying earlier, that stat about him having the second most saves, you don't see that from a top club. Usually top clubs have a better defense. And so he's been fantastic and incredibly valuable for Manchester United. I think he might be the most valuable.
write off Hazard either. He's been really good. They won the title last year.
He's had injuries, and so
I know, but overall he is a better player than Harry Kane, and he's better and more important than David De Gea, in my opinion.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. So, but okay, fair enough. Matt, anything else you want to add?
I think De Gea is still a top 10-5 player from the last year.
Top 10-5?
10-5. Around that area. Maybe 6 maybe, throwing around there.
In the Premier League or World?
Premier League.
Okay.
From the last year.
I mean, Coutinho's in that discussion too, but
yes,
whatever.
Very true. All right, let's keep the discussion moving along, but let's drop down a division to the championship. And Bristol City is on quite the run here. So in the Carabao Cup, right? That's what it's called nowadays.
Caribou.
No, Carabao. It's Carabao. Carabao Cup. They have beaten 4 Premier League sides this season, which at the time a tweet from Paddy Power went out on December 21st, and that was 2 more wins than West Brom and 1 more win than Swansea had against Premier League teams throughout the season. Christian, what's your take on Bristol City's amazing run? They just knocked off Manchester United at Old Trafford. So, no, it wasn't at Old Trafford, but still, it was an incredible run. They're now into the semifinals, going up against Man City, 2 legs. All likelihood it's coming to an end. But what's your take on this run so far?
Impressive. They're doing better than 2 Premier League sides against Premier League opponents. They have won 4 straight, right? It's 4 straight
against Premier League sides. Sure.
Yeah.
They've won 4. I don't know if it's been straight
in the League Cup.
Yes,
it's been 4 straight games.
Carabao Cup.
Yeah, we call it the League Cup.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we in the league.
Yeah.
So there's not much else you can say. It's so impressive, and I don't see them stopping Man City. I don't see any team in the world stopping Man City.
Especially over 2 legs.
Yeah, in 2 legs, 1 game at the Etihad, that they're done. They're going to die. But I know that's been impressive, and they're going to have that confidence, but there's no way.
Well, it's not even 1 game at the Etihad, because I feel like they could. I think any team can make a run or have some things go their way over 1 leg. So whether it's at the Etihad or at wherever Bristol City plays, but over 2 legs, I mean, Man City's quality and depth is just going to shine through, and they're going to overpower them. But yeah,
especially in a busy season now, they're going to be playing in the middle of January.
Transfer window?
No,
busy season.
There's so many fixtures, even in the lower levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's busy season.
Yeah,
it's month end, guys.
Yeah.
That's why this game matters.
Yes.
I think in January there's just going to be so much exhaustion, and it's really going to test their depth now. And in January, that's where Man City do thrive. They have more depth than any team in the league, if not the world.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So what's the where are they in their league?
They're doing well. They're in the promotion league spots. I don't think they're top of the table. I think Wolves is top in the championship, but they're right up there. I think they're in the promotion playoffs.
So could they afford you think they would afford risking playing Man City and sitting their starters in the league to play their main guys?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because I don't think we're
no.
Okay.
Because promotion to the Premier League is so much more valuable than winning the Carabao Cup, even for a championship level side.
Yeah.
So, Matt, what's your take on their run? Do they have any prayer at all of beating Man City?
Well, I assume we're going to play our youth and maybe most of our backups against them in the first games at home. So I mean that game could it could be close. I'm saying that, but I think the second leg it's just going to be too much. City will make an adjustment. They'll put in De Bruyne if they need to. They'll put in Silva if they need to. They'll put in Sané. So I think that's just going to be too much for Bristol to really handle over 2 legs. So I don't really see them stopping, but it's been an incredible run.
Yeah, I love that video of the so Manchester United lost to Bristol City in the 93rd minute. Pretty nice run and goal from Bristol City to knock them out. And their manager went running down the touchline and grabbed a ball boy and swung him around. And it was just really awesome sight to see. It's always good to see the passion from the manager and the fans and all of that. So it was just a great run. Wish them all the best against City, but yeah, I don't have a ton of confidence that it's going to work out for them.
I didn't read the post-match, but I'm sure Mourinho had comments about how disrespectful the manager was for celebrating.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did he have anything? I think it was actually really good.
The City game.
The City game is.
Yeah.
Well, he's the worst person on earth.
Yep. All right. We all know you have a distaste for Jose Mourinho. Christian, anything else to add on this? Matt?
Nah.
Dad, anything you want to chime in with?
No, I'm enjoying it.
No, you good? All right, good.
Good morning.
All right,
we're here
good.
for.
We got a crowd there. All right, so you're gonna hear a little bit of music, people listening on the podcast, and we will be right back in your ears with our second segment. Stick with us. Yes, we do. Hello, our one viewer.
I just texted.
I don't know. One
Wait, can
viewer
you see
right
it?
now. No, I don't know who it is, but I know it's one viewer. So yeah. So
tell?
no, I cannot tell. All right. You guys ready to go into our second segment? Let me
I'm
take
ready.
another beer.
Looks like you're being fed beer when you do that,
I am.
because you can see the edge of the beer pop in the screen.
No,
I
you
don't
don't
think
see
so.
anything.
The last
There's no
time you
beer.
did, I
Yeah,
didn't see that.
there's no beer.
no
Oh, what
No
was that?
beer here.
What was that? I don't
No
know.
beer here.
All right. Let's jump right back into things.
Is this mine?
No, that's mine.
Is that mine?
Welcome back, listeners, to our second segment, jumping into things, and let's go over to Wales, guys, because we all
Why?
like
What's there?
Wales.
What's over there?
Swansea City is over there, and they recently lost 5.
Cardiff.
No, it's not Cardiff.
No. So backstory to that, I had a Welsh soccer team play my soccer team back in high school, and they needed a place to stay. So like 4 kids four Welsh kids were staying with me, and they got in a fight. There may have been some drinking going on or something, and
Extracurriculars.
yeah, extracurriculars. And then as like the night went on, they just started arguing about Cardiff and Swansea. Fuck Swansea, fuck Cardiff, fuck Cardiff. It's great.
All right, so we're going to be talking about Swansea, and they recently let go of their manager Paul Clement. After which match? I don't remember after which match because they're not doing too hot right now and looking likely to go down. But Matt, wanted to get your thoughts on whether it was fair that Paul Clement was sacked. Now, they sold Gylfi Sigurdsson and Fernando Llorente in the summer window. They brought in Boney, but they really didn't replace 2 of their best players from last season, and they barely stayed up. So really, what did they expect from Paul Clement? Was it fair that he was let go? What are your thoughts?
So yeah, I mean, he was put in a tough situation, but the game I really focused on him as a manager and really noticed was the City game versus Swansea, and he was just in that game, he was just his tactics, he was just screaming at the players. It seemed like he was just yelling at them for every place they were supposed to be. And I was like, these players just aren't listening to this man in the slightest. It seemed and he was just cursing at them the entire time. His Swansea was at Swansea, so it was a little bit quiet for the City game. And he was just screaming at the players, and it just reminded me of just some certain coaches where you never want to play for a coach that just yells at you the entire time. So that was my only take on him. So I mean, he was put in a hard situation, but
You're all right with it, letting him
yeah,
go?
I was fine with. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Christian, your take on it?
I don't know. I don't know. He's been at Norwich. He was at Villa, right? Was he at Villa?
I thought he only had one other first team job, and he was a bad situation too.
Norwich City.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's where he was when he started in the Premier League. But yeah, I've never really been sold on him. He's come into very difficult situations, to be honest. But Swansea have been in the league a couple of years now, and they should be solidifying their squad. I don't think he did enough in the transfer window, and that's not all on him. That's part of owners and just the recruitment team. But he does have to take responsibility. That's what's on the managers most of the time. And his tactics have definitely not been good enough. That team, what are they? Are they bottom or no? They're second.
They're bottom.
Oh, okay, I thought so. And they only have 11 points right now?
Something like that, yeah.
And there's only been 2 teams that have ever had worse, and it's, I forget what teams they were. Derby, and there was another one, I forget who they were, but they had 10 points from 20 games. This is not good enough from a team who actually were pretty fun to watch for a long time under
But then
Rodgers.
They just started piecing, they just started losing players and not replacing them.
I know, right? But a lot of teams kind of have to go through that at times. But yeah, you have to replace them.
You have to replace them.
I understand. Like Southampton have been doing that for years and years. But
and they're doing well.
Yeah, they were. They're not great this year, but I still think eventually they're going to be fine. And Swansea have to kind of follow that suit. And when you sell your best players, and Swansea aren't producing the Southampton level, in my opinion, but they've got to do better. And their manager is kind of the first step to making that change.
So you were fine with them letting Clement go. I would have liked to have seen them at least give him the winter transfer window. I mean, he was brought in last year right around this time. Bob Bradley, RIP. was let go, and now
What?
now he's at LAFC.
He's not dead. I want everyone to know that.
But he is, he was in a rough situation. But Clement came in. He had the January transfer window to solidify the squad. He brought in some players. He was able to get some loan deals, solidify the team, get them out of the relegation zone, and ultimately kept them in the Premier League. I think he earned the right to at least have that happen again this season. So that was my take on this. I think he had done enough to at least be granted the January transfer window to see if he could pull them out of it. But, like I say, every time we have these discussions, it's hundreds of millions of dollars if you get relegated in lost potential revenue. And so I understand why these teams make these decisions. I don't think Leon Britton, who's the manager right now, is the answer, because they just got beat down by Liverpool, and it doesn't look like he's doing much to solidify that squad. So they need to get a new manager in there ASAP. And I don't know who's going to take that job because they look likely to get relegated. I don't know who's going to take that job.
Yeah, I mean, someone has to step in now before January, and then have the owners back them up financially if they have any chance of getting back. And
absolutely.
I just wanted to say he did not coach Norwich. I
didn't think so, but that's okay.
But he was an assistant at Chelsea, PSG, Madrid, and Munich.
Yeah, all under Ancelotti.
Yeah,
that's how he got. That's how they got Renato Sanchez on loan. Matt, anything else to add about Clement before we move on?
No.
All right. Let's talk about something quirky that happens pretty much only in England. And so suspensions that happen, whether it's in the league or cup competitions, carry over between those competitions in England. So say you get 2 yellow cards in the Premier League, that suspension could carry over into a cup competition if you have that over the weekend. Guys, thank you both for just being so enthralled as you both yawn while I'm speaking.
I wasn't actually yawning.
But they're one of the only leagues that sort of has that weird sort of quirky feature. What's your take, Matthew, on the league, or just the English Premier League or the English FA kind of having that rule that your suspensions carry over between competitions?
Yeah, I don't think I like it because it's it doesn't affect the other competition. Like, you're not in, like, when you're playing a league match, you're not thinking necessarily about your next cup game, when maybe they should in England. But I mean, if it's different in other leagues, if these players hop around leagues all the time, you might not necessarily think about your next. You might think you're having a break next cup game, and if you're suspended for it, then it ruins like your whole team's tactics, because you have certain players that play in certain tournaments, some that play in certain league games. So it really like throws the whole team off, and I think that it just like doesn't. I don't think it's good for just the whole product if you're suspending people over different competitions.
Yeah, I just think it's weird and just quirky. And if it was done unilaterally across all soccer leagues around the world, I guess it would be more understandable. But England is pretty much the only league where this happens, and it doesn't really make sense that they would suspend, between cup competitions and league and all of that. Christian, what's your take on this style of suspension?
I mean, England like to do things differently. They drive on the wrong side of the road, so it's just something they like to do. I think that.
Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to make that point known.
No, that is you're very worldly.
So, yeah, I'm pretty cultured.
Yeah.
So I would say that I like it, actually.
Really?
I think it's a different way to approach the season. And if you get suspended for a game and then have to miss, let's say, the late stages of the FA Cup, then that's on you. That's bad. But you can also use it to your advantage, I guess. And say you have a yellow card and late in the game, someone's coming in, the game's tied, or you're down, or you're up by 1, and this is a huge moment, and you have to take a card for your team. And okay, our next Premier League game. Sorry, I'm just.
It's very situational.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But like, they think this way at times. Like, I know a lot of them don't, but some of the managers program this into their players. Like, pick up the yellow so that you don't have to miss the next game. That is sometimes. Does this also work with accumulation, or is this just?
I don't know if this works with accumulations. I know it definitely works for like straight reds and I think 2 yellows. I don't know if it works for 5 yellow cards in the first half of the season, 10 yellow cards across the season. If it works for that next suspension, I would think it does. I would think it's all suspensions, but I don't know for a fact.
Okay.
Let's just assume it does.
Sometimes you just have to take that, and it could be advantageous, because if you have a big game coming up, if you're in a relegation battle or if you're in a Champions League battle between 2 teams fighting for those spots, you take that suspension now, especially if there's an accumulation one. You just take a late yellow, say, I'll set out the cup match so that I'm ready for our next match against a huge opponent, and that isn't really a good way to go about the game.
But you
It
like
almost
that
is
sort of
gonna change-
dynamic?
But yeah, it changes the tactics of a lot of players and a lot of managers, and that's why you see it a lot of the times programmed to do, like late in the Champions League group stage, you'll see players pick up yellows that they have to miss the first knockout game instead of missing a later stage.
It's a different tactical wrinkle. This is why we like having you on, Christian. We missed you last week because you provide a different perspective and a different viewpoint. We always appreciate that.
Yeah, and I can tell Dad's really enthralled because he's sleeping over there.
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping.
No, he's never sleeping.
My eyes.
Yeah, he's resting his eyes.
Look at your special eyes.
Yes. So no, I lean a little bit more towards Matt because I think it's just odd and quirky, but it does bring a tactical wrinkle that teams need to account for and pay attention to. And I'm always for, I think it's not underrated because I think a lot of people understand how much of a thinking game soccer really is. But it's always good when you have that sort of tactical wrinkle, and you got to think about, all right, if I get suspended in the Premier League match, is it going to carry over to the cup competition? What's more important? What do we have to prioritize and all of that? So, I definitely like that sort of tactical wrinkle. Matt, anything else you want to add on this topic?
Yeah, I'm just like, if you're in like a cup match, a knockout game, and you already have a yellow card, you have to stop a break, you're up 1 goal. Like, I'm not thinking about the next game.
You're gonna
I'm making that tackle. I'm probably going to get the red card, but
That's why you're not a pro. You can't think about the future at the same time as the president.
He's still got time. He's still got time.
That's not yet. Yeah, that's fair.
No,
Look
man,
at his
I'm
Man
saying
City hat.
that would be I think that's the good move, though. Take the yellow card, win the cup match, but then you're suspended. I'm taking one for the team,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's important. It's important. Yeah, you're a team player. By the way, have you run 444 mile at any point in your life ever?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
a load of shit.
That's impressive. All right, let's move on to our last topic in our second segment here, and let's talk about some more weird, quirky things going on, specifically in the Premier League and MLS. Now, most leagues across Europe, you play the first half of the season fixtures against, whether you play at home or away, you play the opponent. Once you get to the midway point of the season, you play the reverse fixtures. So if you played, Manchester United at home, the first match of the season, the first match or, the 19th match in the second half of the season. So your first match in the second half of the season, you would play Manchester United away. And so that's how most leagues work. Now, England and MLS are a little bit different. MLS is just completely off the rocker. But England, for whatever reason, they play most of their matches just the one side of the fixture. But on the 18th match, for whatever reason, they started playing some of the reverse fixtures before everybody's played each other once. Christian, what's your take on that sort of weird sort of scheduling quirk about English Premier League soccer? And if you want to throw in MLS as well.
Well, MLS is just a whole bunch of crap that, like, when you open it up, it's just like, what is going on? It's like opening a Pandora's box when you look at MLS scheduling. But I think that in England, it's unique. I don't think that it should just be you play the first team, you see them in the 20th game. I don't like that. I think it's cool to have it more mixed up and it varies. I just think it does, because playing a team, playing another team. So, like, say you have 3 games in a row, you're playing this team back to back. You got them once already this season. If you had that exactly the same way, and I know home and away are going to be flipped, like, you kind of know how to approach that. When it's mixed up, you still have that variance in the season and kind of have to approach it tactically in a little bit of a different way. You don't want that same consistency. You want to mix it up. You want to test teams in different ways throughout the season.
But and this is a bad example, but in MLS, you might play a team 3 times within the first 3 months of the season, then never play them again throughout the remaining 6 months of the season.
Yeah, and then you might see them in the playoffs.
And then you might see them in the playoffs, but do you think that's fair? Because teams are in completely different form at the beginning part of the season. They're still figuring things out tactically. I think it's more balanced and fair to sort of spread those fixtures out.
I think it's spreading it out, especially in MLS, needs to be done. I think that if you have 3 games against the same team, it should be beginning, middle, and end.
Okay.
I think that's kind of how it should be spaced out. But at the same time, in England, it's different. You play a team home and away once each year. And the first half is randomized. The second half should be randomized, I think, completely.
But you're still playing. So, but before so you're saying you still play them in the second half? So
Yeah.
Instead of having two
No, I think you
matches
should just
in the
have it
first half.
randomized first half, the 19
Okay.
teams. Second half is randomized again.
Okay, all right, I like that. I can get behind that. Matt, what's your take on this weird scheduling quirk?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense that it's like just so close to the reverse fixtures and then they start doing it. I would get it if it's like completely random or just 19 and then 19. But I don't like how it's just in England, at least, where it's, you go to the 18th round and then you just have a couple games and then you start playing the full reverse fixtures. So I don't like it. MLS, I mean, all American sports are kind of randomized throughout our league, like the scheduling. So I get that, and the MLS is like that because all our sports are like basketball, football. It's not like a set schedule where you play divisional games. Baseball, it's you play people throughout the whole season. So yeah, I don't have a problem with the MLS being like that, but the Premier League, I don't get the whole 18 and then you play some fixtures and then you wait and then you play some people for the first time after you played like 3 teams twice.
Agreed. So yeah, I actually like Christian's idea: randomized for the first half, randomized for the second half, but you shouldn't repeat until that first. You've played everybody at least once. So I think that would be better.
Yeah, and I haven't really thought about it until this year, but every team plays the same teams like in the same match week. So like that first time you play a team, everyone else is playing that same team that they played in that match week in the second half of the year. Never really thought about it, but you know what I mean.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, well,
What?
I am not following.
So Arsenal play Spurs, Chelsea play City, Arsenal play Liverpool, all in one match week, let's say. They play all each other the same match week in the second half of the year. They all play at the same time. That is how it works.
Okay.
Everyone always plays the same matches that same match week in the future.
Okay, just the reverse.
It's just reverse. They're home and away. I never noticed that until this year, but that is a thing.
So okay, do you like that, or are you just letting us know?
No, I don't really like that, but I think it's the best way to keep it consistent. I feel like scheduling would be a nightmare if they didn't do it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe they just do the first half of the year, randomize it, and then randomize the match week number for the second half. Boom. Revolutionized English
Christian
soccer.
solved English scheduling conflict. All right. So with that brings us to the end of our second segment. Podcast listeners, you will hear a little bit more music in your ears, and we will be right back with our third and final segment. Stick with us.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Hey, you guys have like an incredible amount of information in your heads. So you got to figure out how to use this to make money.
Well, that's the plan.
My God, you're just spouting
We
off
need
about
more
like,
money.
Get us suspended.
What about the internet?
It's fine.
Give us some of that money.
Yes. We want more money.
We want more money.
All right.
No, but like I was sitting there just listening, like I didn't know any of this stuff, and like I'm just.
See, Dad, you listen to the podcast, you learn some things.
Well,
That's why you're here. You should subscribe.
Subscribe.
I like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fuzzy. We're fuzzy. All right. Here we go. All right, we're back. All right. What the heck was that?
All right, so are we starting?
What was what?
Yeah, we got one more. We
I
got
meant
one
to say
viewer.
viewer, and it came out with that.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to our third and final segment. Jumping into things here, we have a funny video coming to you from the Bundesliga over this past weekend, or I guess it was 2 weekends ago at this point, the last Bundesliga match week. Leverkusen manager Heiko Herrlich, which is a fantastic German name.
Yeah. English or?
Yeah, he's very English. He had a fantastic dive in the match. We watched it right before we started recording. We will tweet it out from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, so definitely go check that out. But a player runs behind him in the technical area, gives him the lightest of touches on his back, at which point he goes diving a la Louis van Gaal in the Manchester United match from a couple years ago. Matt, what was your take on Herrlich's dive?
Yeah, I mean, it was absurd, but I don't get why the manager is partaking in these shenanigans. I feel like he's the one that should be like, shenanigans? Yeah, but he should, like, the player shouldn't be diving.
Okay.
Leagues are really starting to crack down on it. And I think, like, even the manager kind of encouraging it during like this. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what does he expect to get out of that
Like,
dive?
we have the replays.
Yeah. And in the Bundesliga,
They actually have video replay.
So what are you doing?
Yeah.
That's my only thought.
Yeah, it's just
what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay. Christian, any
Yeah,
thoughts
I
here?
just
You gonna
for
disagree?
Sure, got a flashback to Louis van Gaal.
Yeah.
which he tried to say the ref pushed him, which was even funnier.
I forgot about that.
Which was so ridiculous. Because you're never going to get that called for you if a ref, even if he did push him, which he didn't.
Yeah. Send off the fourth.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Yeah.
I can't believe the referee took a dive. It is
Manager.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be funnier if the referee took a dive. Yeah, the manager took a dive, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah,
and
it's just embarrassing. Yeah.
He should feel bad about himself.
Mhm.
He should not sleep for the next 2 weeks, and that was.
Whoa,
He should go into
That's
the new year, try and refresh, because he got to reset.
He's a reevaluate his priorities.
Yeah, he really messed that one up.
Yeah, it was bad. Well, we'll tweet it out, and you can make your own judgments, but it was pretty bad. I think we're all in agreement there. All right, so now we're gonna. Anything else to add, or I think we're all pretty much in agreement here.
No,
right?
I think I voiced my opinion quite clearly.
Yeah.
Right there.
What's that, Dad?
Even Dad agrees.
Yeah, even Dad agrees.
I felt weird watching it.
Yeah, it was bad.
Felt violated.
So speaking of Dad, we were watching the was it the Liverpool match? No, it wasn't Liverpool. Yeah, it was Liverpool Arsenal match over the on Friday, and for the first time, Dad happened to notice the Vitality dog running around the advertising boards around the outside, and he commented how distracting it is, and found a couple of videos. We had tweeted out and discussed the Renato Sanchez one from a few weeks ago, where he passed to the advertising board, and over recently Thiago Alcantara.
Yep. Well done. Oh my God.
Got that pronunciation. He passed to the advertising board again. Matt, what's your take on these advertising boards having moving characters and having, especially the same color jerseys as or the same color on the advertising boards that the players are? It's incredibly distracting. And when things are moving so quickly, a lot of times players have to make sort of quick judgments, and you're seeing them sometimes pass the advertising boards. Does something need to be done about the moving advertising boards?
Yeah, so I get the whole digital advertising boards right next to the field. You got to get your advertisements and you got to make your money. But yeah, the moving of the dog, or what was it, there was like sleighs people were passing to. There's it's just distracting, and even as a fan, one of the first things my dad said when he was watching the game was oh, you guys see that dog? It's running on the field, and so that was the one thing I got from it. And just in general, I don't get why it's so close to the field. Another side topic, I don't get why they're so close to the field, and why they're the same height, similar heights as where the players would be. So in all sports almost, it's just it's such a danger having players this close, or having the fans and the end of their court, field, whatever, right next to advertisements or the fans, and players get hurt all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really confusing. I don't understand either. And now I've seen some new technology about that they're tweeting out from Sport Techie, which is an awesome website, that they're having digital advertising boards that you can actually have different things shown in the stadium versus what people see on TV. And I think that's the future. And I would for the ones in the stadium to be static, and they can flip, but they at least shouldn't have animation going on, because it's incredibly distracting. But on television, you can still do stuff differently for the viewers at home, whether they're in specific countries. It could have different language. It's really fascinating, some of that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
The NFL. Most mind-blowing thing ever, growing up watching the NFL and then seeing the first down markers.
First down line.
They're not real. The yellow and the blue lines. So that was they figured it out years ago. So why can't soccer do the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. Christian,
it must be hard going to a live football game, because you just can't tell where the players are supposed to go. It's so hard without those lines.
Yeah. What's your take on the advertising boards, and if they are in fact distracting or not?
I think that the advertising boards are ridiculous when you have things moving at the speed of a player along the side in the same color that you're wearing. It does not need to. It does not need to happen. I think that it's absolutely absurd that they even consider doing that. It makes sense, as from an advertising standpoint, to have your company being broadcasted on there, but to have it with moving items that go across the field length.
Yep.
As if a winger
level, at the same level.
Yeah, at the exact same height. It just doesn't make any sense. And you see it quite often. People are making these passes out of bounds now, and why not change that? They can easily fix that and advertise in different ways on TV.
Yeah, and so I think that will be the future. As hilarious as it is to see from time to time, I think they need to make that change. So yeah, anything else to add, Matt?
Nah.
No, Dad. Anything you want to chime in with?
No, I was just confused when I saw a
you
dog chasing the ball. I was like, where's that dog chasing the ball? And it was just took me off guard. That's all.
Yeah, so he was a little confused for anyone who maybe couldn't have heard him say that. Last thing I wanted to talk about, something I'm incredibly excited about in American soccer. So in 2019, we talked about it on previous podcasts, but the NISA, so I still can't remember. Yeah, the NISA, I still can't remember what exactly it stands for, but it's the league founded by Peter Wilt, who has all kinds of ties throughout American soccer. He was instrumental in founding the Chicago Fire. He's helped He founded Indy 11, and so he is actually creating a lower division soccer league and hopefully building up a full-scale pyramid in this league. And so for those who may not know, American soccer is very different in that we don't have promotion and relegation. We don't have a unified pyramid the way most other soccer countries do. And so what we do over here is we have franchises instead of clubs, and so owners buy a franchise, which is a part of a league, and then they're pretty much stuck in that league. And so what he is doing is he's actually eliminating franchises altogether. There's no franchise fee. You join his league, and they are launching the 3rd and 4th division initially. And they're immediately launching with promotion and relegation. There's no franchise fees, which is very unique for American soccer to not have franchise fees. League dues are incredibly low. And he's also encouraging training compensation and solidarity payments, which are incentives that help develop players and compensate clubs for developing players. All sort of radical in American soccer. It's done that way everywhere else overseas. So I, for one, am personally incredibly excited about what this league is trying to do and see if it can be successful. And as they build up and hopefully get a 1st and 2nd division, Christian, what's your take on Peter Wilt and what he's trying to do with this lower division league?
I'm really excited about what he's doing. I think it's only going to help U.S. soccer on the whole. I think it's a really, really, really smart idea. I think they're going to get a lot out of promotion and relegation in those 2 divisions. And I think that they're going to get a lot out of youth in encouraging youth and improving the overall quality of the lower and middle level players that we're getting. And you guys are distracting me here with all your comments that you're making over here.
Keep going.
And writing, but
you got to be professional, Chris. You got to rise above.
I'm trying my best. You know, I'm still new to this whole game. I'm only 57 episodes in.
Yeah.
I think that I just think overall that this is only going to improve the quality of all U.S. soccer players, and we're going to see a lot of youth and just mid to lower level quality coming in and improving the overall quality of even MLS, and maybe even down the road we're going to see MLS combine with a lot of these and make MLS bigger, or maybe even I don't see promotion relegation existing at the top level, but it could eventually if this is successful.
Yeah, and I don't see it working for MLS in the way that their business is structured, but it may work if they build up a 2nd division team, and then you may, have that sort of
competition almost with MLS.
Exactly, have an integration. Matt, I want to get your thoughts before I chime in with some more details.
Yeah, I think it's great. Promotion relegation, I think we've all kind of agreed that we're for it, and we encourage, we think it encourages the teams to play better. It encourages, the product of people all throughout. Every division, every game, you have to play hard because you may not be in this division the next year, and you're playing for basically your, because if you go down a division, you may never see that division again. Like even the players, like the club might take years, but it really hurts the players. So every player is playing for something. So I think promotion relegation is good in that from that standpoint. I just don't see how the MLS is going to be able to give up their franchises and how they would be okay with it. I think it's great for the 3rd and 4th division to see how it goes, but I don't see it in the MLS right now.
Yeah, and I've always said that I don't think a promotion and relegation is the silver bullet, and I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the small guy rising up to the top division. Nobody wants to talk about the incredible club that gets relegated and hundreds of people lose their jobs because they've dropped down a division. They go into bankruptcy. Sometimes clubs fall completely apart. And so I don't know if promotion and relegation is the silver bullet to solve all the problems in American soccer. But having said that, I'm encouraged and interested in seeing it tested out at a lower division and seeing if it can work out. Now, I know somebody listening has asked if relegation is a FIFA requirement. It is not actually. So it's involved in the FIFA statutes, but there are ways around it, and the way that the FIFA statutes are worded is intentionally sort of vague to allow for individual federations to sort of have other requirements beyond just sporting merit. And so that's how the U.S. kind of gets around it right now. And, so it isn't an absolute requirement, but it is something that FIFA does have in their rules. And somebody's actually challenging that rule in FIFA. It's called the Court of Arbitration for Sport. They're actually challenging that. Two lower division teams in America are challenging MLS and U.S. soccer. And so there will be a ruling sometime in 2018 to decide if MLS and U.S. soccer are in fact violating it. So that's something to definitely look out for. Also, to answer another question here, this lower division team will not be affiliated with MLS. So this lower division league will be its own separate sort of entity outside of MLS. And like Christian was sort of talking about before, there is an opportunity potentially, if they're incredibly successful, to integrate with MLS if it makes sense for MLS. But MLS and U.S. soccer is just incredibly siloed, which is a problem in and of itself. All these other leagues, whether it's the FA in England or the DFB in Germany or most of the other European leagues, they're all sort of integrated. And U.S. soccer is very, very siloed, and they have these different leagues. And so hopefully one day everything can be integrated, but we're not there yet. And so I'm incredibly excited to see, like Matt was saying, these ideas tested out in the third and the fourth division level and seeing if they can be effective. And I'm all for more professional teams, in the league, developing players and seeing if that European model can in fact work here. And so, I'm really excited by this and can't wait for 2019. I wish it was starting next year, but they were supposed to start next year, but the NASL lawsuit with U.S. soccer is sort of delaying that. So that's sort of background there. Christian, anything else you wanted to mention about this topic or any other topics we've talked about?
Nope, just welcome Virgil van Dijk to Liverpool one more time.
There you go. Yeah, well, I'm excited as well. Matt, anything else you wanted to mention?
Well, City are 15 points ahead, so you throw in your Liverpool thing, I'll throw in my City thing.
There you go. Yeah, congrats. Dad, anything you want to mention from the floor over there?
No, I got to start paying attention to these more because I'm learning a lot.
All right, there you go. He's learning a lot. We hope you guys learned a lot as well. Christian, you want to recap our trivia question?
Trivia question. Yes, it is. It is Felipe Coutinho.
Yeah, Felipe Coutinho, Liverpool midfielder.
He has scored how many goals from outside the box since joining Liverpool?
Okay.
Steven Gerrard has the most. I'll tell you how much he has. He has 33.
Oh wow. Okay. I know. Or at least
I was thinking a lot more than that.
You were thinking a lot. Okay. All right.
That's so many.
Yeah.
I've seen because I watched Gerrard highlight. Is it just in league, or is it all time?
I'm pretty sure it's all competitions.
Do free kicks count?
Yes, free kicks count.
I was expecting more. Let me think about this.
All right. So my guess is 14.
Okay.
I've seen Coutinho score a lot from outside the box. I'm going to go 23.
Oh. Okay. He just pissed Robbie Fowler, who was number 3 now, just so you know.
Okay.
And
what's
the number? The number is 19.
19?
Yeah.
I thought I saw 14 on the.
He has 19.
This one he had
Maybe he has 14 in the league.
Maybe it was 14 overall. In the league. Okay. All right. That's right. Matt, what was your guess?
23.
23. So I'm closer.
Damn, Matt was closer. All right. Congrats, Matt. Listeners, thank you guys for being here and tuning in and watching us this week. We will, be with you again next week. If you want to check out any of the stories we discussed on this episode, they are in the podcast show notes, and we will tweet them out from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, which is @BTSoccerPod. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Everything was brought to you guys by FanFutsal, FanFutsal.com. Definitely go check that out. If you like soccer, you will like that site. Guys, thank you for being here. It's been fantastic to be here in person. I wish we could do this every week in person, but Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all the listeners out there, and we hope you have a fantastic New Year's in 2018.
Happy New Year!
There you go. See you guys. Have a good one. Bye. All right.
Thanks for stopping by, Lee.
Yeah, everyone watching on YouTube, thank you guys for tuning in. That was I never noticed this comment section. We should have that up more.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a drink per the little Knittel shirt. Tidy ho. All right, there you go. All right, have a good one, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.